Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm representing GDG Wrocław, and I welcome you to this online talk. Today, we are going to learn something from Maureen and Josephine about golden tests. But before that, I would like to tell you a few things. We as GDG Wrocław are a part of Google Developer Groups. Google Developer Groups are communities of developers and technology enthusiasts of Google company. As GDG Wrocław, we organize live and online events. GDG are open to everyone, regardless of age and experience level. Search for your local group, or maybe just GDG Wrocław, and be part of the community. Also, we would like to invite you to the next upcoming live event, which is DevFest event in Wrocław. The local event will take place on 20th of November. DevFest will contain 3 native mobile presentations conducted by mainly Google developer experts. Follow our social media and stay tuned for updates. Okay, so with no further ado, let's welcome Maureen, first Google developer expert in Kenya, who will tell you about good practices for golden tests. Maureen, it's good to have you here, and stage is yours. Okay, so let's just give Maureen some time to prepare.
Hey, Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah. Maureen,
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my mic was...
No problem. Take your time, and we can begin when you're ready.
All right. So I'm gonna share my screen right away, but I'm gonna share like my entire screen so that I'll be able to switch. And here we go. Just let me know if anything is not clear or my slides are not visible.
I think it's fine.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the welcome. So as you've mentioned, my name is Maureen Josephine. And I am a Flutter GDE, the first female Flutter GDE in Sub-Saharan Africa and the first in Kenya, which makes me really proud and excited to always share the knowledge with people from the community, both in and outside. And today I'm going to talk about how we can use Golden Test to achieve pixel perfect UI. And yeah, let's get started. So today's agenda, as I've said, we are going to look at what golden tests are and why they are important, and scenarios where we could use golden tests other than the normal unit tests that we always write, and then how to implement the golden tests as well, and what to look out for when writing golden tests, and finally a sample demo that shows exactly what you need to do. So As developers, most of the time we feel so proud writing code, but we draw the line when writing tests because most of the time some developers feel like it's a lot of work writing tests after all the code, but we need to always write tests to validate our implementations if everything still works as expected, and if the logic that we've added, or let's say a new feature or a new input that we've added, like still makes sense, and also to do away with the regression failures and all that. And we usually have different categories of tests. The BDD testing, that's the behavior driven development tests, the integration tests, which is end-to-end tests for apps, the unit tests, the widget tests. But the question is like, why do we need golden tests? Golden tests. What are really golden tests? So golden tests are structurally similar to the widget tests, which whereby the widget tests, we usually test a specific widget functionality and how the behavior of those widgets work. But on the other side, golden tests just testify the visual appearance of the widget. So the difference is that the widget test the behavior of a widget, let's say if a text or like an input or a container. But on the other side, what golden test does is that just the visual appearance of how it looks like. And with this, golden test generates like a screenshot of the widget, and then the generated screenshot is compared against a reference image that we want to test. And if the screenshots match, then the golden test passes. And if it doesn't pass. So the reference images used in these tests are called goldens, hence the name golden tests. And like in widget tests, golden tests can also be applied in a small individual widget, let's say like just a specific container to test the visual appearance of that container, or a collection of widgets to test a group of visual UI stuff, or an entire page, let's say a login screen and all that. So today we are going to see why do we really need unit golden tests besides the widget tests that we already are usually writing. So why do we really need golden tests? So for example, in this image, where we have like an icon with some text next to it. So this is an example of a widget test where we would ordinarily write that expect to find by icon, and then this the icons.favorite with a border, and then it finds one widget. So if you run this widget test, it would definitely pass because it meets the criteria. It has an icon, and it's the icon of type favorite with a border, and it would find one widget if we run the widget test. However, what happens if you change the positioning of the icons? So previously, the icons were on the right and the text, the icons were on the left and the text on the right. So what happens if you change it, if you switch the positions of the text and the icons such that the texts are now on the left and the icons are now on the right? If you run this widget test, it's going to pass. Because yeah, it's expecting to find an icon with an favorite border and it found it. Otherwise, when you run a golden test, this is gonna fail because it's not exactly what we were expecting before, which was like an icon on the left and a text on the right. And since we have switched the behavior here, where the text is now on the left and the icons on the right, it's not really what we were expecting to see. So this is where now the golden tests come in and helps us to do like a regression of a change, and also to clarify that this is the exact UI that we were looking for. So with all this, how do you really create golden tests? And I'm going to show you how to do that. So first steps first, you need to add the golden test package to your development flow. So on your terminal, you can just run the Flutter pub add golden kit Toolkit, and then it would add this package to your IDE, or you can just simply add the dependencies there. And also, it's usually wise to check the version number to confirm that you are using the latest version with all the changes that you need. So after adding the package, next, we are going to try to create like a sample UI. So in this case, it's just like a simple container, which is just going to write like golden test and a simple color, the green color assigned to it, and the font size of 24. So I had run this before. And this is how it looks like. It just shows the golden test and a container that contains the text, and it's centered. So this is what we are going to test if it actually works the way we want. And next. So based on this sample UI that we already have, so how do we write a golden test for it? So ordinarily, the way we usually write test, I'm going to show you my test folders of how it looks like, but it's simply the same procedure of how we write text. So within your test folders, you would have to create like a test file with your specific name, and then write the test function, which is like test widgets, and then you can give it a title or a description. In this case, I just gave it my widget golden test, and then here we would have to pump the widget. So by this, the widget that we are pumping is the my widget, which is this one, the one that contains the UI that we just saw here. So if we come back here, so yeah, it's just the same way. So we would write the await tester.pump widget, and then it returns the material up and give it the same structure that we currently have. So on my side, I just have it as a home/scaffold with a body of my widget, and then the duration, animation duration 2.0. So I added this so that we don't have like inconsistencies in terms of like animation differences, because I realized that sometimes the test fails if there's like a slight animation as part of the change. So, and then as part of the test, we are also going to add the await.expect later, which is like a future asynchronous function, so that it matches what we expect versus what we have. So it's here the expect later is gonna find by type, which is my widget, in this case my class, and then it matches the golden file, which is this link that we have, like /golden/mywidget.png. So this is what's gonna be auto-generated when we run our golden tests. And we set the file to compare our previous class. That's why it shows that way. And then to run the golden test, you just run Flutter test update goldens. And I'm just gonna show you how this actually shows. So like I said, first of all, I'm gonna increase this a little bit. Like I said, I already added the dependencies. So this is the golden toolkit, which is this version as per now. And then in the main, in the main file, we just have this simple class to show the my widget, which just display an up bar of golden test demo, and then the body, which is my widget class, which is down here. And what my widget has is simply just a container, which is centered with a text, and also like a color and fonts specified. And then when you come to the test folder, which is golden widget underscore test. So you can always name these according to your own preference. And just like I showed you before, we are going to use the test widgets and then give it a description. Widget, my widget, golden test. And then here we are building the widget. And then the widget that we are building is this one that we already have here. And if you come back here, like I said, I added the duration to 0 seconds to prevent the animation from running that could easily cause like slight differences of the screen when we are trying to run this. And then we set the golden file to compare against like what we expect. So that's why we have the await, expect later, and then find by type, which in this case is my widget class. And then we say that it matches the golden, my widget underscore golden.png. So this is going to be auto-generated. So for my case, because I had already run this test before, that's why it's already generated. But you can simply check the generated file because it comes within the package called Goldens. This is where all the generated files are going to be listed. So you'd come here to the Goldens and then you'd see how it appears. So it appears this way due to how Flutter renders this. And this is one of the reasons why we need to really compare what we expect against like what we have, so that we have like exact same similarities in terms of like the fonts rendering and device rendering, pixel rendering as well, and all that. And then in case you have like a failure, it's gonna list it under the failures folder here. So sample on how to run it. I'll just run this so that you can actually see it. Sorry. Let me minimize a little bit. Yeah, sorry. So after having this, you can always just run the file from up above just to see if the stuff is still running, and you can see the test pass. Right now is 620. Yeah. So this is the test that we were running before. Or if you want to regenerate the golden test itself, you just write the command flutter test update goldens, and then when you run that, it's gonna run according to this. So what I was trying to explain before, like for example, if we don't have this animation set, and then let's comment it and then try to run this test ordinarily by just the flutter test command, it's going to fail due to, oh, it passed. Ordinarily, I expect it to fail due to differences in similarities between the rendering image and against what we currently have. So I'll just uncomment it and then come back to where we were. So yeah, so to run all tests, you just run the flutter test command, and then it would run like all tests, including your unit tests, integration tests, and all that. And yeah, it's always like an awesome feeling when you see all your tests pass. So that's why you also have to be keen when trying to do this. So for example, on my case, when I was trying to run this debug, example. So you see it failed here at this point because, let me open this wider. Yeah, so it failed here because of the pixel test fail with a 3.17% and 15 to 40 pixel difference detected. So this often happens if like what you are testing doesn't match what you really have. And that could be an issue. So that's the reason why we really need this golden test, or to implement golden tests in our day-to-day development, to also help us with regression testing and automated testing. So you can always add this within your GitHub checks and your CI/CD pipeline to make sure that everything still works as expected. So for some of the best practices that you need to put in place, do not check in the generated failures folder to version control. So for example, here I have the failures folder. So it's not advisable to check it to GitHub. So what it's recommended to do is to add this failures folder to your .ignore file so that you don't check it to version control. And just like I've said, don't check in the golden failure output. And then it's also advisable to add a golden tag to your project. So this helps you when you're trying to like isn't your work. So you add a dot, you'd create like a dot_test.yml file at the root of your project with the following tags. So you just add tags and then golden, and that's how you'd add that, so that it would ease in like your process when running the golden test. And then you can also configure your VS Code to make sure that like your settings when running these golden tests are up to date. And if you are using, this is only when you are using VS Code, but if you're using other IDEs, I didn't really see that in the documentation on how to do that. But if you use VS Code, it's recommended to add the configuration to your .vscode.launch file, JSON file at the root of your workspace. And other than that, these are some of the resources that you could check out for the golden test. So there's this Flutter golden dashboard that specifically shows like what's going on, the rules, and also you can find tests by name, by blame, by change list, by search. So it's like a whole lot. So if you are getting started with golden tests, it's also advisable to just check this to have an idea of what's going on within this dashboard. Other than that, which is pretty much detailed, is this golden toolkit. So this contains the API and the utilities that helps you write the Flutter golden test for the regression test, and also the key features that it has. For example, it has the golden builder class. So this helps you quickly test various states. So for example, if you have a weather app and you want to check if it's sunny, rainy, you could add, you could create this widget and then validate that it looks exactly as it is through like adding these various scenarios as part of your checks. And then yeah, you'd be able to have like different output of what is expected. So let's say if it's sunny, cloudy, rainy, and cold, and you'd also be able to validate that. And also to for the accessibility as well, you should be able to add the check that looks like that. So it's pretty much like that. And there's also another feature for the device builder. So this is mostly if it expect the constraints scenario of the widget sizes according to the device configuration. So this helps you test different devices. So for example, you can check like a mini normal font size, this size, like a mini tablet, to showcase like different scenarios of what to expect here and there. And that's pretty much it in terms of this. And lastly, there's like a really good article on how to write golden tests for flawless UI testing. So you could also check it out. It's really good in terms of like knowledge sharing. And then lastly, there's this Readme Dock that has like a whole lot of details on what to expect regarding this. So today, I think my time was limited to only 30 minutes for the session. So I would leave this time for Q&A in case someone has any questions regarding this. And I hope you have an idea of what golden tests are for now.
Okay, thank you very much, Maureen, for this talk. I think we've got 2 comments for you. Sorry if I mispronounce names, but Raja asked that he's new to Flutter and can we write tests for adaptive screens for different screen sizes using golden tests? I think
Yes.
so.
Yes, we can do that just like I shared, because there's the device builder that enables you to check different device sizes depending on like your target device. So it's gonna compare against that. And you also have to add like a scenario check for which kind of devices you are checking against. So I think this would be pretty much helpful in terms of writing tests for adaptive screens to help you already check that in time.
Okay, second question or suggestion from Randall. Launch JSON should be added as a sample copied by the individual dev to the live launch JSON. Otherwise, local rules would be hard to keep in place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with this suggestion as well. Because like if you have different rules here and there, it would be hard to keep all of them in place. So yeah, it should be added as a sample.
Okay, I've got some questions. So first is, what is like a proportion of your tests comparing to the golden test? How much of a golden test are in your test folder? Is it like a majority of your test folder or smaller?
Yeah. So because right now I was simply doing experiments with this golden test to evaluate, for example, if we really need it in our team, for example. So I would say, like at a personal level, I'm still trying to explore the use cases of when it would be actually be really useful. But from my experiment, I feel like it's nice to have it in place because let's say like a simple switching of like an icon from left to right, you'd be able to see that like in real time, instead of like finishing your development and then post it for a QA to test, and they would be like, no, this is not what we expected to see, or you make a simple change and then it does like completely different change, or it interferes with the original version. So I feel like it would help us curb this prior. And in terms of like checking like golden tests against other tests. So for now, I think we have like a 50-50 balance of both unit tests and some of the widget tests. But I think if we start implementing golden tests, then it would also be like a different percentage. But I don't know like what's the required standard of the percentage of amount of golden tests that is recommended. But I'm open to suggestions to know, like, do we really need like 100% golden tests compared to widget tests or unit tests? Because all of them are really useful in one way or another.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is from Janet. How do you structure golden tests for bigger applications? And do you use it for every screen? It's like a follow-up question to
Yeah.
her.
So I would suggest for bigger applications, let's say if you have like a login screen, it would be wise to have golden tests for each screen so that like you have your test structured in the sense that like you know you are testing the UI for a specific screen, so that like the ratio, like we map it like login screen to login screen golden test. So that would be like easier to test for bigger applications. Otherwise, for your normal experiments, maybe you can just test like simple widgets just to verify that the widget matches like what you expect, or a certain icon matches what you expect. But for bigger applications, I would suggest let's do it screen by screen, like per feature.
Okay, next question from MKBBKD. Is it possible to test widgets with animations?
For golden test, I haven't really explored this, but yeah, it should, because when I was trying to run my own, it was failing due to like the differences in pixel ratio. So I think it also checks for this. And if we check, for example, the Flutter golden rules, I saw some tests that are centered towards animations as well. So I feel like, yeah, it's possible to test the widgets with animations, but it's something that I should also try out and see.
Okay, I've got last question from mine. Did you have a chance to integrate the goldens to like some CI/CD solution? Or
No, I haven't, because this was just for my local stuff. But I think yeah, it should be possible if we add it as part of like GitHub Actions, so that like you don't have to like only run it locally, but also integrate it as part of your GitHub Actions as our normal unit test.
okay. Pavel said, sorry for being late. I made golden tests in other frameworks and found scenarios of 99% accuracy with golden caused by image processing compressions. And the question is, does Flutter support accuracy thresholds?
Does Flutter support accuracy thresholds? What does this really mean? What do we really mean by accuracy thresholds? Because in my point of view, so I think also other frameworks that use this, I think Angular uses, if I'm not wrong. But in terms of like image processing or compression, I think the rendering still works as expected. But what I'm not really sure about is the accuracy threshold. So if someone has like an idea or suggestions of what does really that really means, then yeah, we'll be glad to learn from that as well. But something worth checking.
Okay, so Pavel, you can like rephrase or just let Maureen know about this. Okay, next question for Raja. Maureen, I have created a simple application, but it handled a huge amount of data as a user report, but the app crashes sometimes. How to write tests for that scenario and improve app performance?
He created a simple application, but it handled a huge amount of data as a user report, but the app crashes sometimes. How to write tests for that scenario and improve the app performance. So in this case, I think I would suggest maybe write your tests scenario per scenario, because if you say that it's a simple application, but it's handling a huge amount of data as per user report. So I feel like maybe you should structure it to write scenario per scenario. So this way you'd be able to catch the errors of what's exactly going on. other than these, you can also always add debug logs to kind of just debug and see like what's really happening when you try to when the app crashes, like what does it really say. But other than that, I would suggest write the tests for each and every scenario so that you'll be able to know exactly what's going on, because otherwise it's too abstract to tell what exactly is the problem.
Okay, Janet is trying to help us out and about accuracy thresholds, that you can say that how many pixels can differ from the golden.
Is this a question or a suggestion?
So it's a follow-up to does Flutter support accuracy thresholds, which can mean that how many pixels can differ from the golden.
So you can say how many pixels can differ from the golden. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that is it. If talking about questions, this talk will be shared on our YouTube channel on GDD Wrocław. And thank you, Marin, for this talk. That was very interesting. And I think that is it. We've got only one short talk for the late afternoon. And
yeah, let me share a bit where they can find me in case they want to.
Oh, yeah.
Share screen. Yeah, so in case you have other questions, just feel free to, if you're able to, scan the QR code and reach out to me either on LinkedIn or on Twitter at j_kelo, because this is a topic that I'm currently exploring, and I'm also currently excited to learn about what other people are thinking about golden tests, if it's really necessary, is it too much work, such kind of things. So feel free to reach out to me, or if you have like other apps, bigger apps that are already checking out for this, and then we could link up and share ideas. So that's it from me. Otherwise, thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you all. Thank you, Marin. See you on the next talk, and maybe on DevFest in Wrocław.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Bye.